Put together a little lecture and I make the class watch. Pacific Northwest, where we're blessed with Sasquatch. Like in the Himalayas, the abominable snowman, known to have strength more phenomenal than Conan. Discovered evidence of this endangered species. Footprints, hair samples, even stranger feces. Put a bad taste in your mouth like a glass of scotch. Some say it smells worse than an ass or crotch. In British Columbia, they're more than legendary, even though the skeptics claim he's imaginary. Eyewitness accounts that attract attention, while others can't decide if it's a fact or fiction. Is there an ounce of truth? I don't pretend to know. I'm searching for the proof, whether friend or foe. Got his own erotic novel, getting naked with ladies. What's the missing 411? Ask David Pallades.
There's things that are not known. There's things that can't be known. There's things that won't be known. It's okay, you're not alone. There's things that are not known. There's things that won't be known. There's things that can't be known. It's okay, we're not alone.
So I was just driving along through here, and I just had this instinct to look over to my left, and I seen like the dirt was kicked up right here, and you can see there's a pretty good sized trail that goes through there, and it goes into the woods somewhere over here. I'm not really sure. Oh, it looks like it goes in right here. Looks like it, but I got the looking over here, and I seen that it was just picked up, so I just wanted to start recording. I knew these walnuts are stacked right here. I mean, it's different. And you can see where something is. I don't know if it's been rubbing up against it or what, but you can see where something's been coming in and out of here, and I just happened to catch a glimpse of this. And you can kind of see toes a little bit. I mean, that's I don't know how it got kicked up, but my blood is pumping right now. I mean, that may be old, but I mean, you can see toes. You can see the toes. Yeah, they're just, that's what I understand. Look, what perfectly places walnuts on rocks? I mean, look, the walnuts just, they're scattered out everywhere. The creek's right there. If you see anything in the video, just comment and let me know. Oh my God. See, I mean, that is so, there's walnuts on these rocks. It's just, these Sasquatch have got to be busting them open on them rocks. I mean, I didn't even think to look on my way in and see if I seen anything, but now on my way out, it's just like there's literally signs everywhere. Oh my goodness. I mean, you can see the heel, and you can make that. There's the big toe, kind of the other toe. And you can clearly kind of make out the toes. I mean, it's still, my boots is a size 12, and look at that. That's not natural. Okay, look here, we got to look somewhat of a, I guess, I mean, that may be natural free fall, but yes. That is very strange. Those are broken off Is this a nest? Because all of this is broken limbs. I mean, look, this is broken. All of this is branches. Oh my gosh. And this is literally right off the road. And this is all branches that are broke and literally placed right here. Below this. This is BRD, Bigfoot Reports and Data.
Hey, folks, what's going on? Yes, indeed, it's the 5th episode of Sasquatch and Confessions Friends. I'm trying to say, try that again. Sasquatch Confessions of Friends.
There we go.
Of course, of me, the Lord of ORD. You can find me on YouTube and other platforms. And then I got my sidekick and partner in crime, Esquire, Sir JT.
Welcome, guys.
Confessions. And our oh yes, and I forgot my mini me is with me today. Yes, indeed. Chase the ghost. And we have our new guest, friend Harley Owens.
Yes, sir.
And let's check this out real fast. Let's get this going here. Oh yeah, one thing before I even get to Harley, I wanted you guys to know this. I started a new Facebook page, the Lord of Ord, and I asked you all to go there, subscribe, so that you know what's going on with Sasquatch Confessions Friends, and also our guests and what they're up to. Okay, so I'm just started. There's only 27 followers, so go there and subscribe, please.
The graphs are evolving. They cannot be trusted.
Here's Harley Owens. He has a Facebook page, so you can go contact him there. Also, he's got Bigfoot Reports and Data, and he's got 3,200 members in that a Facebook group. Is that a group or page?
It's a group.
It's a group right there. So go join and check out what Harley's up to. You can see his videos and what he's doing out there in the field. Also, later on today, we got our new friend and George Lunsford. And George is a author of several books. The one that's out there right now that's published is Monsters of the World. And check that out. It looks like a pretty interesting book, to say the least. You see there, he's got a website. He also was as a show host. I guess the show is no longer in existence, but at one time he had at least well over 200,000 listeners. So this is, and of course, then we got Sasquatch Confessions, and that's what we'll probably be watching in the background. JT stuff, gentlemen. Thank you for joining. It turns out to be a powwow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good evening. I've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, man. Tell us a little bit about who Harley Owens is.
Well, I'm 23 years old. I'm a newbie to the Bigfoot researching, and I'm married to my lovely wife Gabrielle. We've got 3 kids. I have a boy, and I have 2 beautiful stepdaughters. My son will be 4 in July. My stepdaughter Ivy, she'll be 4 in August, and then the other one she'll turn 2 in March. So I'm a family man. I love my kiddos.
There must be, you're a very busy man too. Then, if you're a family man, how do you have time to be being a Bigfooter?
It's time consuming. It really is. I'm out there just about all day hiking the mountains and such, and sometimes I just wonder if because last Monday, you know, I had that encounter that really shook me up, and you know,
Last Monday.
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, it was a. I'll be talking about it here shortly, but you know, safety is a big concern to me. You know, I want to come home with my kids.
Sure, you do. So, where are you tromping around and doing your research?
In the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in East Tennessee.
East Tennessee, famous East Tennessee.
hmm
So, what got you really? Why did you want to get into this? I mean, it's
Well,
kind of a bizarre
well,
thing to get into, isn't it?
it is very bizarre. You know, if you'd have told me 3 years ago after I had my Bigfoot sighting, you know, if I'd been out here researching, I told you was crazy, you know, and sure enough, here I am. I've been doing it for 2 months now. Yesterday marked 2 months of doing it. So I'm
Two months,
dedicated.
2 months, or 2 years.
2 months of doing the Bigfoot field research.
You only
Wow.
be 2 months for field research? Only 2 months?
hmm
No kidding.
I started December 7th, 2023.
But you had your first encounter in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. So why did you delay the inevitable? The inevitable that you're going to
Well, you know,
bug.
after that was an eye opener. You know, I was like, there's creatures out here that you know could kill me, and I'd be missing, and they'd cover it up for something else. You know, and I was like, well, I stopped deer hunting. You know, I loved hunting and fishing. I stopped everything outdoors.
Scared you.
Yeah, it did.
Shook you.
Yeah, and this past Thanksgiving, I actually went back deer hunting, and you know, that was a special moment. You know, I was like, I conquered my fear. You know, I came back out in the woods and I got hunting again, and I was like, well, I'm going to get to the bottom of this Bigfoot stuff, and man, it's been a roller coaster of a ride.
In 2 months, you're gonna be you're gonna be learning a lot, bro. They're showing
It's
themselves to you now.
yeah, like for me in 2017, like I started because my goal was to prove that Bigfoot was its government psyops and right and fraud. Right, within 6 months, I end up having my first encounter. So it's it does happen. Or other people
Oh
will
yeah.
spend 3 decades and never see a thing. It's quite interesting how that works. I had no
Yep.
idea.
Well, I believe that they have ways to sense your intentions. You know, they can sense if you're good or bad. You know, and they'll only show themselves to you if they can trust you. Trust is a big word. You know, these things are so secretive. You know, you can literally walk right by one and not even know it.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Try to get your mouth closer to the mic, there, brother.
Oops, sorry, my bad.
There, it's much better. Much better.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, you could walk right by one and you not even know it. They're so secretive, you know, and I wouldn't even know that I had seen one, you know, until I went back and looked at my footage. You know, I utilized a back trail camera on my backpack, and I've caught some crazy things.
Some crazy things, huh? So, I guess so you started having this encounter you had your first one in 2020. Were you actually researching or looking into Bigfoot prior to that?
Nope,
Or
I was a skeptic. I was the biggest darn skeptic you ever was. You know, I laughed at people if they talked about Bigfoot. You know, I was one that made jokes.
Did you look into it at all prior to?
Same.
So the impetus for you to get involved in this is because of your counter and all that. Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's get into that. Let's talk about your very first encounter in 2020 that changed your life.
Well, at the time, I was working for an auction company. It was Tri-State Auction and Realty. We took out old sawmills, auctioned them off, and all that. So I was up there for 2 weeks. The week prior, before I had this encounter, I talked with the owner of this place, you know, and he said, watch this bear that's coming in here and getting in the dumpster. You know, I was like, well, okay, is he a pretty good sized bear? He's like, yeah, he's average size. He said, there's far worse things in these mountains than that. And that kind of stuck to me. You know, I was like, what's worse than a black bear, a black panther? You know, I joked around. I was like, okay. So the rest of that week there, nothing really happened, you know, and I was like, okay. So going on auction day was a Saturday, and my boss came up to me. He's like, you want to stay up here next week and help people load stuff that they bought? And I was like, yeah, I ain't got nothing better to do. So I was like, I'll just stay up here and do that. So auction was over, got wrapped up. They left, and I stayed up there. Sunday came around, and it was raining. And I was like, well, I'm just not going to sit in this hotel all day. I'll just go out there and get stuff ready. And, you know, I was just throwing stuff on pallets, whoever bought what, and I was just marking it off and setting it where it needed to be set so I can get it easy access and load it on trailers or whatever they had to load it on. And I got done. I was like, well, I'll just walk over here around the woods since it's raining. I might find some tracks, bear tracks. That's what I was hoping to find, see if I can see a bear track because I'd never seen one. And I was like, that's not a bear track. I found a couple of tracks in there that was human-like, and I was like, that's odd. I was like, that's Bigfoot, and I joked in my head. I was like, somebody's out here playing a prank on me. And the next day, Monday, nothing happened. Tuesday, nothing happened. Wednesday was when everything changed, September 23rd. It was about 1:45, 2 o'clock. There was a guy had come in there that morning, and I loaded his pallets up. He left, and he got in there daylight, so it was probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and nobody really came in there. And sure enough, 1 o'clock, 1:30 came around. I was sitting in the skid steer all day, and I didn't have no phone service, so I was just napping around, and I go to the service truck and grab Coca-Cola and a sandwich out of my cooler, and all of a sudden I hear this growlish grunt. And I was like, that's off. So I looked over towards the wood line. I was like, that's odd. So I went to go grab my Coke and my sandwich again, and I heard it again. I was like, what in the hell? So I looked up on the cliff face there, and there I seen something black moving across the ridge line. I was like, that's that bear. Well, I looked down, and by the time I looked back up, this thing was leaning out and looking at me. I was like, oh my God, that's a Bigfoot. And I was like, they're real. And I was like, if I don't get a picture of this darn thing, nobody's ever going to believe me. So what I did, I took my phone out and I snapped a picture, and almost instantly, right when I took that picture, my phone was just drained. I had like 70-something% battery, and I was sitting there looking at this thing, and it was looking back at me, and it just turned, and it went back the way it came and went on up in the ridge there. I couldn't really see it because it's so thick, and I was just sitting there like, I just seen a Bigfoot. And I was like, nobody's ever going to believe me. So I'm just sitting there waiting for my phone to try and come back on. I put it in the truck and I put it on charge. And I'm just like, come back on. I want to see if I got the picture. And sure enough, I got it. And I was like, this is crazy, And so that evening, right around dusky dark, probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was getting ready to leave. And I was just sitting there. I was like, I'm going to see if anything happens, I was like, I might see it again. I didn't see it again, but I heard it. And let me tell you, those sounds will send chills down your spine. That first set that I heard, I have never heard anything like that. People told me that was elk. People told me that was coyotes. People told me it was coonhounds. Anything other than what it was. And I know what it was. I had spectrogram analysis done of this, and they ranged all the way up to 2,000 hertz. It's remarkable.
So do we have the picture? Did you give me the picture of that one?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yep.
Right.
Do you have you recorded did you record the sound?
Oh yeah, I've got them recorded.
Oh wow.
Do we have, which one is it that you sent it to us?
Vocalization one. I sent them to you and I labeled them.
So the short one, the one that we
Yeah.
did in the intro. Okay, so we already played
Yep.
that. So.
Yep.
So if you want to hear the vocal, it's in the beginning of this video in the intro. So I did not. I have the other one set up. I did not have that one set up. So
Yeah, those other ones, that was the next evening. It was 24th, around that same time, and they were actually about 15 minutes apart, and they were just everywhere. I don't know how many of them there was, but there was a bunch of them.
So which image is it that you sent me?
It's up on a cliff face, and it's this dark black mass, and it's like leaning out from around the tree.
Now, like when you were looking at it, how big do you think it was? Was it just like
It was
guessing
probably,
like?
I'm 6'6", so I mean this thing was bigger than me. I'd say it was every bit 7.5, 8 feet tall, and it was about 75 to 100 yards away. I mean, it wasn't close, but I managed to zoom in and get a sense of size on the thing. I mean, I zoomed in as far as I could with my phone camera.
Yeah, for sure.
Is this the one we're
Wow.
talking about? Is this the one?
Yeah, that's it. That's actually an enhancement of it.
So we can
Yeah,
see.
there's another enhancement of it.
So let's see if I'm sorry about this. We probably should have talked about this a little before.
No, you're good.
So this is the original.
Yes, that's the original image.
Dark shadow. Sorry, it gets a little blurry there, but definitely see there's something in front of that tree.
Mm-hmm. And then you can see right there behind that tree. You can make out the rest of his body there, but it's just in behind the bush.
He's huge.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. You know, and that it scarred me for sure. You know, because that's something that's not supposed to be real.
Now, like,
sure enough.
when you've seen it and it just ran up the hill kind of thing, or ran up?
It just turned and walked. It didn't
Turned and
run.
walked.
It walked. It didn't run.
So that
That's
it was just a shock to you, really, more than anything, right? Like, just to see it.
So did it see these eyes right here?
That's his. That's like his side. His face is kind of cockeyed looking.
Is he cockeyed looking at you?
Actually, when I was looking at it, you know, he would look at me and then he would look up the holler, because where I was at was big flat and it shot up into a holler, and he would look at me and then he would look up in the holler. So I mean, he was looking back and forth.
Sure, they're always moving really.
Yeah,
frantic.
I don't know if he was looking at deer or what, but he was looking at something else other than me.
Yeah, it's a life-altering experience when you see one of these things. That's for sure.
Yes, it is. And
how
actually,
far away?
That image right there. You know,
how far do you think it was from you?
75 to 100 yards. That image right there. Somebody told me they said that thing wasn't black. You know, it appears to have like a reddish tint to it.
Yeah.
So it very well could have been reddish brown.
The original picture, you can tell it's like shadowed out and like it's dark, right? So yeah, you couldn't really see, but you can see that a bit there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it looks like he's looking right at you.
Yeah, it looks like he's going like this, you know, like turning his head like this and looking at him.
Yeah, I mean, just in the moment, all I knew to do was to snag a picture, and I did. Because if I knew if I was going to try and get a video, it would have been gone. So I just snapped a picture. That was just went in, snapped a picture.
Yeah, it's excellent. So, you know what happened after you saw? I mean, what did it do?
It literally my phone got zapped, as they call it.
Drained.
Yeah. Imagine that.
I had 70% battery, and it was just drained. And as soon as that instantly happened, that thing turned around and it walked off.
Did you saw it walk off, or did it?
I just made it. It literally
kind of
turned and went
vanish?
into the brush. It just turned and went to the brush.
Was it making noise? Was it making noises when it turned and went into the brush?
It sounded like it was making some noise, but it was just kind of
really
far off. Yeah.
Okay.
So you heard it moving through the bush and heading into the distance.
It wasn't loud. It wasn't very loud, but
of course, it's 100 yards away, so
it's
going to be hard to hear. But
true.
But they are pretty big, so they are you whacking and bumping into these brush and trees, you know, which I find fascinating. How many times I hear people's stories, including mine, how you don't hear jack squatch.
Well, this one that we're going to talk about later, we'll get to that.
Oh yeah. So that was your first one in 2020.
Yep.
So then,
it's funny too, because I my encounters were on the same day-ish. Like mine was September 24th. I'd throw that out there. It's kind of a weird coincidence.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And, you know, they talk about things happening. I think it's
I'm telling you, August and July is
John A. Keel was talking about there's certain days, in particular UFO stuff and strange things in the sky. But I think it also could probably reply to Bigfoot that on the 24th of the month, it seems to be around that date. It seems to be where the highest amount of things happen for whatever reason. So
yeah,
that's a coincidence.
Yep. No, there's no such thing as coincidence in this.
Now, do you think it was by itself, or do you think it was with other things?
I guarantee you there was more of them.
Is there anything going on right in here?
I I wasn't paying attention. I was focused on it. I didn't pay no attention to nothing else. I mean, there very well could be more in there, and I
I
just
mean, it
haven't
could be
thought.
pareidolia, but then again, you never know. There's something seem to be going on around there, but who the hell knows? You know what I mean?
Not me.
It's very shadowy, so
Mm-hmm.
and they do love the shadows.
Yep, they sure do. But I mean, that's my money shot right there. I mean,
You know what's amazing is how they're blacker than black,
Yeah.
blacker than the
Yeah.
dark,
What do
the
you
darkness
mean
of
by
night. The
Mhm.
color black. It's like this. They're even darker than, you know. You've got your cell phone here. You probably can't see it, but anyways, anything. Just look at anything that's black, and then put that thing next to it, and it's even
Even
It's
darker.
darker.
Yeah.
if there is a possibility of being blacker than black, that's what they are. So
Yep, exactly.
it's very interesting. So then, what did you do afterwards? So you had that encounter. And then what did you do the preceding months and years?
Well, I never went back in the woods. I stopped deer hunting. I stopped fishing. I stopped anything really to do with the outdoors, and it had a huge impact on me.
So what made you get back out there? What did you just have a moment where you're like, I got to do this, man?
I had just a moment there, and I got down on my knees and I prayed. I was like, man, I got to get back into this, and sure enough, good Lord willing, I got back out there and got back at it. I went through depression and a bunch of anxiety and stuff after my first encounter.
We're listening to you. We're listening. Don't
But
or just letting people see a little better image.
It was very traumatizing to me. I had nightmares for months after that. I couldn't sleep. I lost a lot of weight. It was a huge impact on me. And I love hunting and fishing. I couldn't stop it. I had to keep doing it. And I just mustered up my courage and got back at it.
My son has a question. What do you want?
Yep.
It's not like a question, but like, what is? I don't get why people are so scared of. They're just de-evolved humans,
No.
I think there's in a way.
He doesn't listen to his old man. That's for
This
sure.
is where the rabbit hole comes in.
It's just.
And by the way, I don't blame you at all for feeling that way. You know what? It's still to this day. Every time you even get close to the woods, there's always those thoughts, you know what I mean, of the past, Yep. Although things have gotten a lot better and hanging out with guys like JT and working it out, the psyche part of it and the psychological part of it's
mostly
the truth of the matter. Yeah. The truth of the matter is they didn't do anything to me and they didn't do anything to you, did they?
Exactly. Nope.
So the problem was, it was just, like you said, psychological.
Yep.
They just kind of
Because
exist.
that's something that's not supposed to be real, but it is.
That's right.
They kind of just go like.
Are you done?
A lot worse
Are you done with that? Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's be cool now, okay, bro? Or else I have to mute myself again. And strangest thing is I'm the host, or the co-host.
Don't do it.
Yeah, but it had a huge impact on me, and my family still thinks I'm crazy about that encounter. Even though I have the vocalizations, a picture of it, and the video of the dang on trackway, and I lost a lot of friends. And
I lost my best friend, and I almost lost my son over this.
Yeah, it's rough.
But we won't talk about it, what happened. But it's people. No one in my family talks to me. You know what I mean? About.
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm lucky, man.
You are.
Holy. People accept me for everything I say. My family, they always.
Yeah, I haven't talked to mine in months.
Still get over it, man.
I don't know, man. It's one of those things, regardless of whether or not, or they do. One of the things I discovered is each one of us has our own tailor-made journey, and I think it's part of the journey is learning to embrace it, and I think it's part of becoming, manhood or womanhood is to become oneself. That's right, right? Authentic self, right?
Yep.
Take away that mask that we've developed our whole lives, right? I can watch my son doing that right now, right? At his age, right? He starts to create this fake facade. We all do it, right? And then something like Bigfoot
What
or
happened?
something like UFOs or aliens or whatever it may be shows up and reminds you that what a phony you actually are and how little you actually know about this world, right?
The
Exactly. Yep.
Sasquatch will literally put your foot in your mouth, man.
Sure does. That's for sure.
Yep.
And you think you know something, they'll show you you don't.
It opens a bigger
Ooh,
picture.
thumbnail.
Thanks.
Oh yeah.
Hey, by the way, folks, you're listening. If you could do me a favor and JT, depending where you're at, give us a like.
Yes.
Give us
I
some
said
support
that.
so that more people can join us, so we get more
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
like Harley on our shows and have these talk conversations. So please
Yeah,
help
and
us out.
one thing I want to do is, I want to encourage anybody out there, if you have an encounter of a sighting of one of these creatures, don't be afraid to share it. Come out here anonymous. You don't have to tell your name. Just tell your story. Because piecing the puzzle pieces together is how we're going to solve this mystery.
Yeah, you can come on
against
this
each other.
show and you don't even have to show your face. You don't have to tell your name or anything. You know what I mean? So, of course
Tell your
you have to introduce yourself to us, but as far as the audience and all that goes, you don't have to do any of that. So
Exactly.
so there it goes. So now you had all the struggle getting out in the woods, struggle with your family, struggle with relationships. So why not just walk away from this? Why not just to keep your mouth shut?
The mystery is one thing that it really caught me, is like, what really are these things? And this is where the big rabbit hole comes in. Everybody thinks there's something this and that and this and that and this and that, and I'm not going to get into that, but that's one thing that I'm really
We'll
trying
get
to
into
do.
that later. That's what we'll do. For now, the question is, why not walk away from this? Why confront it? Why go for it? Have you ever thought about that?
I have not thought about that, no, but it's just I love
He wants
being out
answers,
there.
man. He wants answers.
That's right.
Well, I mean,
Oh man.
I really don't have an answer for it. I'm just fascinated by it, and
Don't we all want answers?
It's always a mystery, and it's always different.
Absolutely. So now, fast forward ahead, then you have your second encounter, and when did that happen?
That was December 14th, 2023.
So that December shoot, man, December what?
Yep.
14th. There's a lot of stuff that happens. My second encounter, by the way, happened in the same time period. I keep running across people that in that time period leading up to Christmas and the winter solstice have, for some reason, encounters one way or the other. I don't know if there's a connection but there seems to be some kind of correlation with it all. We're just talking December 14th. Bro, we're just talking less than 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's your second
Crazy,
encounter.
man. How it works.
Yep.
It just escalates. Next thing you know, man.
Yep.
Like when my stuff started happening, it's over the last year. So much has happened,
Yep.
Not to just jump in, but it just keeps going, man.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't stop, man. Once they know, what is it, ORD?
Once they know, and the game is on.
Oh yeah.
That is for sure. So the second one, now this is not with George, right? This is by yourself, right?
This was by myself. My wife was actually with me.
Okay.
Oh, just so you want to get her into this conversation?
No. Get her into this conversation.
See, here's the thing. This is one of the things important now. People will share these encounters, and you would think, like for me, it's like, my gosh, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened. I mean, we should like really bond from this. But my experience is the complete opposite has happened. So far, people that I've shared encounters with or experiences with don't want really anything to do with it.
Exactly.
I don't even want to talk about it.
It's something that's not supposed to be here,
Well, I think part of it is though,
we're brainwashed to think that, man.
Yeah, and like for me, I was a hardcore Christian, Harley, back in 2007. I was totally convinced that there were demons because of my experiences, all that. But I had to learn through experience and talking to other people that actually it was my biases and my indoctrination that convinced me of that. And you know, the funny thing is, once I stopped treating them or acting like they were demons or projecting this thought or this idea that they're demons, things actually started changing in my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, they stopped, you know, a lot of the weird stuff, the dark, weird stuff, this, you know, that we talk about, right? You know,
Mhm.
and, you know, the dread and fear, because that's, you know, the first time in my life I ever felt dread and fear was in those, the second encounter in particular. The first encounter, I was so shocked, there was no feelings, but the second
Well,
encounter,
that was my first encounter, you know. I felt the feeling of dread and fear, you know, but the
Mhm.
second one's totally different.
Isn't that interesting? They're different. So what does that tell us?
I really don't have an answer.
Well,
for
they
that.
haven't done anything to us, first of all, right? Physically.
Mhm.
And secondly is that, I mean, maybe they, some people talk about like there's like a spiritual activation type that happens. And it's like,
Soul activation moment.
it's
That's
like
what I
you,
call it.
that's what Mike says too. By the way, Mike will be with us. By the way, folks, next week we have, Monday will be Brian Pork.
Brian Bland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Thursday will be Mike Beans, the pork and beans dudes. And by the way, when I get a chance to talk to Mike, I want to apologize. You know, he prophesied that I would be an ambassador for Bigfoot, and here I am, 7 years freaking later, talking about Bigfoot. What the
Wait, is
heck?
that guy from Weezer?
That's what we do, man. That's what we do.
Okay, I was about to say you're talking to a guy from Weezer.
No. By the way, Weezer, the bass player is from our area, so that's.
Oh.
Which, by the way, that's the introduction of the song that I'm going to use for the show next week from Weezer. Do you guys remember the song?
No, which one?
Pork and Beans is the best songs they ever wrote, man. It's excellent.
Awesome. I'll check it out after.
It's an excellent song. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry about this distraction. Let's talk more about this second encounter and what the heck is
Yeah.
going on with you and your wife.
All right. So
Great.
this was 7 days after I had started doing my field research. You know, my first time in there, I captured a couple of them on film, and I was like, well, I'll bring my wife with me this time, get us out of the house. The girls were at their grandma's, so we go and we park, and we're hiking up through there, and we're coming back out. And she said, look at that over there. She said, that looks like something out of a war movie. And sure enough, it looked like a dang on blind. It was a bunch of sticks folded up together and a big old flat spot laid in it. I was like, something's been laying in there. And we were probably about 30 yards off the trail. And I seen something moving in front of me to my right. And I told her, I said, get back to the trail. I said, go back to the trail right now. I said, there's one right up there. I said, you see it? She said, yeah. She said, what do I need to do? I said, go back to the trail. I said, stand on the trail. And I said, if something happens, run. So I walked maybe 20, 30 more yards into the woods, and I can still see it out of my peripheral. It's walking back through there. And I turn, and sure enough, it comes out from behind the tree, and it crouches down. And the only thing I can see through the brush is its face. And I'm like, okay, and I'm making eye contact with it. You know, I see it, and it sees me. It's probably 25 yards away from me. And I'm sitting here looking at it, and the trail's to my right. And almost instantly, right to my left was a loud snap. And then right after that snap, there was one stomping behind me, like stomping in place. So I'm like, hell with this. I was like, I'm going back to the trail. So I start screaming at my wife. I said, go. And it was fear because there was literally 3 of them right there. I didn't know what to do. I think they were just.
Were they surrounded you?
There was one in front of me that I seen. There was one to my left, and then there was one behind me.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had me on 3 sides. And I only had one way out towards the trail. The trail was to the right, and that was the way I went. So there was one in front of me, one to my left, and then one behind me.
And still nothing happened, eh? You just, you know what I mean? Like,
I think they were toying with me. They were testing me out, see what I do.
it's a test of metal, man. Like I literally had a Sasquatch bluff charge me in my driveway, you know?
No way.
Yeah, no, it literally, I could only see its footprints though in the gravel, and it ran from about 100 yards straight at me as fast as it could. I could see the footprint.
Oh wow.
And it slid like it was stopping on ice and stopped 1 inch from my feet. You know, I just stood there and I laughed and I said, "Is that all you got?"
Oh man.
It's a test of metal, right? They want to see, you know, what you're about. If you could handle it, you know.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
this guy going to do when I actually show myself to them, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's what I
Yeah.
think, anyways.
Yeah. So I actually want to talk about this other encounter before we get to this other one, since our special guest is here. Last Monday on January the 29th, it was mine and my wife's anniversary, and you know, we spent the day together, and I just for a little bit, and I told her I was going to go out and hike for a little bit. Well, I got out, started hiking about 2-3 o'clock, and I go to 2 new areas. I go to a completely different area from where I've been and used to. So the first area I went to, I found some rock stacks, 3 stacks high, and I found some twist breaks and stuff like that. But the second spot that I went to, it was a good 2-3 mile hike up the mountain, and you know, I felt the presence and I was being watched. And I'm recording at this time. I didn't have my back trail camera, so I was just using my phone. And so I'm going up through there and zigzagging around and stuff, and I get to this area where I'm looking, and I'm like, holy shit. And there was twist breaks over. I'm telling you, these trees were huge. They were like that big around, and they were twisted and broken.
Mm-hmm.
You can see their twist breaks. They're plain as day. And I'm sitting there photographing them and such. And I go back to the trail, and I'm hiking up the trail a little bit further, and I get to this curve in the trail, and I look at my phone to check the time. It was 5:33, and I had 30% battery. Well, I was debating on what I need to do. Either I can go up a little bit further, or I can go back, and it was getting dusky dark. I was like, well, I probably need to go back. And when I looked back down at my phone, it still said 30%, then it said 10%, and then it shut off. And I was like, well, this is great. Nobody's going to know where I'm at. So I start turning, and I walk. And, man, I walked maybe 5 or 10 feet, and I heard something moving behind me to my right. So I just stopped dead in my tracks, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to see you. So I turned instantly and over to where I heard that noise. I look, and I see it. It's laying flat on the ground, and it's got canine ears and a snout. And I'm like, oh, no. And this thing pushes itself off the ground with its front limbs, and it takes 3 strides to behind a tree, not even 10, 15 yards away from me. And this thing was evil. Like, when I looked in this thing's eyes, there's no soul there. When you look into a Bigfoot's eyes, there's something there. But when you look into one of these creatures, there's nothing.
This is the dog man.
Yes, this was a dog man. It was brown. It was flat in between its ears. You know, it had the big muzzle. Its nose was kind of smudged into the snout, and it was very, very muscular. Like, its upper torso was muscular. Like, the bottom half wasn't as thick, but you know, it was still muscular. And you know, it had like human-like legs. You know, it had the forward-facing knees, and it had a tail that was like a fox's tail. It was big and puffy, and it was smacking its tail back and forth across the ground. It had one hand propped up on the tree, and the other hand, it was reaching out trying to grab me. So I'm just like, I gotta go. I gotta run. So I backpedal maybe 10 feet, and then I bolt, and this thing is chasing me. And I'm like, I want to die. You know, and whenever I was looking at this thing's eyes, my life flashed before my eyes. My kids growing up without me, my wife growing up without me, you know.
So this eyes that you're looking at, describe the eyes for us?
They were bright yellow, and you could see like the black slit in them. Like, it was just a big yellow eyes with a black slit right in the middle.
Like a snake eye type thing?
I don't really know how. I don't really know how to. It was weird.
Now it is chasing you. I mean, what do you mean by that? Was it like trying to touch you? How close did it get to you?
I wasn't turning around. I was just running. And my main goal was getting off that mountain
alive.
Well,
generally speaking, was it 10 yards, 20 yards, 100 yards?
It was close. It was very close.
So within 10, 20 yards type of thing?
Yeah, it was very close. And, you know, I go across.
Were you able to hear it?
Yeah, I could hear it. I
Could
could
you
hear
hear?
it.
Could you hear it breathing and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, I
or-
seen it. I seen it breathing. Like when it was breathing, because it was starting to snow. And
Okay.
it was 28, 29 degrees up there on the mountain, and you could see the air coming out of its nose, from where it was so cold, the heat coming out. And the teeth, man, oh God, the teeth. And I go across the first bridge, and I get to the second bridge, and I go across it, and it just stops. It stopped following me. So it was... I definitely was counting my blessings after that one. So this past Friday, I actually went back. I had a friend come with me, and we got measurements on how big this thing was.
Okay.
It was 92 inches tall. It was probably a little taller than that due to the ears, but I seen a spot on a tree where I could see where the top of its head was, and we went to that, and it was 92 inches. So I mean, give or take, the ears were a little bit higher, so it was pushing 8 feet. Its head was 15 inches across, like the width of its face. It was 15 inches across, and the shoulder width, it was 39 3/4, almost 40 inches across. So it was huge. And the stride from where I first seen it to where it went was 26 feet. And I said it was 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, and it was behind that tree. It had an 8.5-foot stride.
Huh. That's a big stride.
Okay.
That's very fast. So it's interesting because your area, the Appalachians and down south there, you guys seem to have more of these encounters and experience with this thing called dogmen than the rest of us. Like I'm up in Ohio on the border of Michigan. Of course, JT's in British Columbia. So although I'm not saying there's not dogmen in our area, we don't seem to have many reports of you guys down there.
There's definitely a connection between them and the Sasquatch, and I'm definitely trying to figure it out. There is a connection because they're definitely in these areas together, and I've got them on film together. Like there's one of a dog man that I have, and not even 15 to 20 feet from the right of it, from my back trail cam, there was a Sasquatch. So they were right there together.
Right. Now, is one of those images have anything to do with that encounter?
No, I did not have anything from that dogman encounter because I got zapped.
Okay.
And the compass was going haywire on Friday when we went back. I went to that tree where it was at, and the compass was just spinning in circles.
It's so fascinating because you hear this constantly with encounters with Bigfoot or Sasquatch, and then also with aliens and with UFOs and with paranormal.
Well, electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, but there's, how is that going about? That's the big question. You know what I mean? How is it happening? And as far as I have some sympathy and empathy for you, Harley, because my grandfather came from your part of the woods, and he was tormented his whole life with the ordeals that he had to deal with. When since a young boy, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I told the JT that as a young boy, he was petrified to go in the woods. Actually, his whole life he was. In fact, he was so petrified of that area that as soon as opportunity he had to move away from the area, East Tennessee and North Carolina, that area, the better. So he actually moved all the way up here to Northwest Ohio, and it ruined his life. It really did. So whatever he was seeing in that barn, that was persistent and it traumatized him, right? And he was dead afraid to go in that barn, and his siblings and his family made fun of him, even his own children. My father used to make fun of it because nobody understood, everybody just thought he was just, some silly little
making up stories or whatever.
Right. There's something going on down in your neck of the woods. That's for sure.
There is a lot going on down
Definitely.
Because there's other things that I've captured on film I have no explanation for. I mean, they literally look like aliens. It's a lot of weird stuff.
That doesn't surprise me. Usually if something's going on, you're going to have all sorts of encounters happening. Whoa, what's this?
I don't know if I can show it to you. You guys probably can't see it. That's my son's. He drew this for us. That is going to be our new thumbnail.
Right on.
I figured he'd walk away soon. Listen to old people. There. He's in his room now doing his own thing. So, yeah. The other thing I want to talk to, sorry, if you gentlemen, Caddy, mentioned something about Mike weren't you tormented? And she was right. That second encounter that I had for 3 days with Sasquatch and the things that were associated with it certainly did torment me. It was a living hell for 3 days. It truly was. The irony was that I kept on praying and praying, but it wasn't until I actually had enough. It's a long story in which, it's part of, I know you're writing your book, Harley, and I'm, thanks to JT, I'm writing my book as well. And, started it up again yesterday and just looking at it and editing some of the stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, it was one of those things. It wasn't until I just had enough and exerted my own authority that it then ran away. And I got a confirmation too, because it wasn't just me to saw. It was my buddy upstairs who just retired from the Air Force Reserves, and he just right now he's in Hawaii they paid him for his retirement. They paid for a month's vacation in Hawaii.
Oh wow,
nice, isn't it? So, but he saw something. He has a hard time accepting his Bigfoot, but he certainly, the way he describes it, sounds just like damn Bigfoot. So that's all part of the story too. But my point in all that is, and Caddy's right, is that I was tormented mentally, spiritually, but a big part of it was because of my own ignorance. If I would have known now, because you see, the people that were teaching me this stuff, whether it was in the churches or whatever, nobody knew what the hell they were talking about. Nobody knew what they just barfed out what everyone else barfs out, right? They read it in the book, or they got it from their pastor or the priest. They don't know what they're doing. And I didn't know what I was doing either. And I was, but I think it was an important lesson for me. And by the way, I have not had anything like that since 2017.
Personal growth thing, brother.
I think so. A big part of it actually is that. So, I mean, yes, but they didn't physically hurt me. Certainly did traumatize me. Certainly spiritually, it felt that way too, definitely. Right. But I think a lot of it was ignorance on my part. And I was calling on the wrong people for getting the wrong advice. And it wasn't until I exerted my own authority and said enough's enough that things changed. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I wanted to just take it away from you, Harley.
No, you're good, brother. You're good.
But at this point, what I'd like to do, gentlemen, is we'll play an audio of one of yours. We'll do be the second one that you gave me, and then we'll bring in George, and I think it's about time to share your guys' encounter.
Yeah,
it's close to that second hour, and George's been patiently waiting. He's still there, so thank you, George. We'll listen. We'll play this audio. That's one heck of an audio. You guys tell me what you all think. This is Chase. He's got his BB gun. Don't do that. I think that. Here we go.
Yeah, those were wild.
Where was that recorded? Yeah.
Virginia, Pound, Virginia.
Now, was that in like? Was I hearing rain?
Yeah, it was raining, and I was inside of the building, the
Okay.
sawmill at that time.
Okay.
It was just echoing because it was down in the hollow, and they were up on top of the ridges.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that's elk, it's coyotes, and it ain't none of that.
Man, that's a brontosaurus. No.
At first, because I used to work on the railroad and I was listening to that, it's like, is that metal against metal? But the more I listen to it, it's like it doesn't quite add up to, cars being shoved into poles and pushed.
Yeah, that was inside of the sawmill. There was actually a piece of metal right there. It was loose and it was clanking back and forth.
Well, that's very interesting audio, and it's very different. I don't think I've ever quite heard something like that. Now, where was it coming out of exactly?
On top of the ridges, because where I was at was a big flat and a big holler, and it was coming from on top of the ridges.
So was there like you say a big holler? Was it kind of like a deep bowl or something? I mean, it's really echoey.
Yeah,
it was extremely echoey.
Yeah, it was a deep bowl. I mean, it was a big flat bowl, and it shot up into a holler, and there was ridges on both sides, and there was actually another ridge across that behind where I was at. So it was all mountains. I think I sent you the location. I think I may not have. I've sent it to so many people.
Pretty wild stuff, man.
Yeah.
So how did you respond again to that when you start hearing that? I mean, outside of you recording it, did you hear it during the time?
It was only when I was getting ready to go to the hotel. I only heard it Wednesday and Thursday, and I left to come back home Friday. But there's a funny kicker here, and I'll throw this in here. So I went to a little drive-in diner called Robo's, and I talked with some old-timers there. I was like, y'all ever seen anything strange around here? And they was like, they just looked back and forth to each other real quiet, and I was like, they know something. I was like, I've got something to show you guys. Let me know what you think. So I showed them the picture. I showed them the tracks. I let them listen to the sounds, and they looked back and forth at each other, and one of them said, "That's a devil monkey."
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Tree devil monkey, that kind of thing. Do you have some of the footprints that you have? Are they from that incident?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the pictures.
Was the day after.
Which pictures did you send them to me?
Yeah, I sent them to you. It's the video of that trackway that you've got in the beginning. That's the tracks. Yes.
Let's see if I got some of the images here and see if we're looking at the same thing. Okay.
Yep, that's him. Yep, and that is him. And you can see the outline there because that trail, there was a trail there, and I never paid no attention to it. But that trail leads up to where that creature was at. That trailway came down across the dried up creek bottom, and it shot up around that area where it was at.
Those boots, man. That must be fun walking in them boots.
No, I regretted it because I brought them because it was supposed to rain all week and it didn't.
So these are separate footprints. This is a different one altogether.
And the video that I sent, that's the stride for stride, and those were the best ones that I could make out.
Interesting. How many did you find?
There was 4 or 5 of them that was there, but those were the best 3. But in the video you can see where I go through for the stride for stride, and that's the first one that I found because where it came across the creek, you can see kind of how it slid and just you can't really make out the rest of it because it's up underneath them leaves, but it came across the creek.
So I'm doing it backwards. My apologies.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, but that's the first track where it came across the dried up creek bed and it slid. You can kind of see how it slid right there. That's the day. That was Sunday whenever I was jokingly like, well, that's Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah. You were talking about that earlier, right?
Yep.
Next thing you know, you're finding tracks everywhere.
Yeah.
Seems to be the case.
Yep. That one you couldn't really make out good, but I think I had another one that I took that day, but there was like 3 or 4.
Really weird. Really weird how there's
the
spot and then it's just like dead grass all around it.
It's weird.
You know what I mean? Like the footprint in a huge area around.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
Yeah, that's I don't understand it. It was weird.
It kind of does when you think about the way we think about Sasquatch, though. You know, with how we talk about they take the stuff from the trees, and I mean, maybe when they're doing that, it can happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Taking
it's
it from the ground, the earth.
Yeah.
but somehow it seems to be that's the somehow it's that the grass and everything seems to be sticking to their feet.
I don't
Mhm.
know.
I don't know how that could possibly be.
I don't
So
know.
with that, hey, if you're still there, George, why don't you jump on board, brother? Thank you for your patience. If you're still there,
Yeah, there
you're
he is.
George is.
Hey,
Thank you, George. You're a heck of a trooper, bro. You
know,
patiently
I
sat
gotta
there
say
for.
one thing. You guys talk about how the Bigfoot kind of everybody kind of looked at you funny and everything. I've
Uh,
been weird for a long time, so everybody kind of expected it from me.
Yeah, yeah.
well, I was weird too, but
Maybe that's what's
now once you have Bigfoot encounters, now you become ultra weird. Don't you think so?
Actually, I think for me it was kind of everybody kind of thought, well, that's normal. It's George.
Yes, George. We should-
that's just George. Yeah,
That's exactly it.
I'm pretty sure that's my
Done a
case
lot of
too.
strange things.
So once
you know.
again, George, the reason we brought George is because Harley and George shared an encounter, and this is where we're going with next. So this would be a special opportunity that very few people ever get a chance to hear. Two people sharing the same encounter and at the same moment, in a live show. So
Yeah, absolutely.
don't forget to like. Don't forget to like the show, man. Don't forget, bro. People.
Yes, everybody go like the YouTube show.
And
Both our channels, both the channels.
yeah, all the channels.
Join my group and buy George's book.
That's
That's
right.
right. I mean, right now it's live on what 3 YouTube channels? Or is your Facebook?
Yeah.
And also X as well tonight. So,
No, it's not on there yet. I need to get it on there though. I have to do a couple things still.
we got 4 platforms right now. And
Yeah.
it will grow. So, gentlemen, who wants to go first here? Since George is the elder, I'll let him lead this
we'll let
discussion.
George introduce himself here.
I
He's
am
the
definitely
expert, the pro.
elder. Yes,
That's right.
I'm turning 57 next month, so
No kidding. I turned 56 in January, so you still a little bit older than me. You are the old man here.
I am. the
Okay,
old
old man. Let's go.
Well, I've got to give Harley credit because Harley had been investigating the area for a month, and he got all kinds of great information for us. So me and the team, which was me, Robert Effler, Michelle Effler, and Harley, went over to check this place out. And when we got there, I started immediately finding. We found elk sign, we found deer sign. Then as we went through, we found bear sign, we found bobcat, coon, found all the signs. There's plenty of animals there. We know the animals were there for food. And then we started finding Bigfoot and other things. Sign. We found trees had been over into an arch, and the other tree laid on the end to hold it in spot. We found footprints. We found a dogman print that was every bit of 6 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
How long was it?
I couldn't tell. It was really hard to get any kind of footprint detail because of all the dead leaves and all it's been wet, and they just couldn't get really a good view of any of the footprints. But we found a fantastic ambush site they had set up. There was actually 3 trails come into one spot, and the Bigfoot or something. I'm gonna say Bigfoot because I could stand up in it with no problem. I'm 6 foot tall, so.
Okay.
And they had stood the logs up and the bedding inside the ambush area. Something had been in there recently before we got there because the greenery was still rising back up. So we know we was close. We got growled at by something. Don't know what.
How far do you think it was? Like, you actually, did it sound like it was in the distance, or did it sound close when you heard it?
No, when Michelle heard it, it was close to her. It's probably, what'd you say, Hart, about 15 yards away?
Yeah, it was close. It was very close.
Okay.
And Harley took us to some fantastic places. We found a fresh dogman print that wasn't 15 minutes old that we'd scared up. And we found an area.
The stride between those Dogman tracks.
Yeah. And we found an area that actually I think it even surprised Harley. It looked like juveniles had been in there playing,
Mm-hmm.
which was
Wow.
very surprising. I mean,
Yeah, it was
and we were coming back out of the back area, and Harley nudged me. He goes, "Let's go down that flat." I'm like, okay, why not? So me and him dropped off into the flat, and the other ones went down the dirt road, which was the trail. And we got down there and we found another couple of watered out places, and we found bear scat. So, we kind of put some over to the bear.
Okay.
But we come up the hill and we were directly across from another hill. And there was a valley in between us, just a small little valley with some laurels in it. And Harley hit me. He says, "There it is." I look. I said, "Harley, that's a shadow, man. There's nothing there." He said, I'm telling you. And he the funny that Harley is great. I love the kid to death. He's hilarious. Because the more excited he gets, the more he vibrates. So
I'm the
he's
same way.
vibrating. And he's like, "That is it. That's it." I said, "That's a shadow, Harley. It's been snowing and everything else." He said, "Wait right here." I said, "Okay." He said, "Now keep your eye on the shadow." So he takes off down the hill towards the laurels, I guess, to get a better look at this thing. He gets down probably 12, maybe 14 feet, and he steps on a little limb. That thing goes off like you shot a shotgun. Pow!
It was loud.
And this shadow that I'm watching, the shadow, leans out from the tree with his arm up on the tree. I can see this creature from the waist up, and this huge arm on the tree. I can see the muscle outline from the light behind it, and I see the hair on top of its head. He has like 4 or 5 sprigs of hair on his head. He had no neck. His shoulders up to his neck. And I got real excited, which was probably stupid, because what's the first thing that goes into my mind? Let's go get it. So I'm not smart enough to be scared of this thing. So I take off, holler, "Oh shit." And I take off down there. I catch Harley, and we both come up the other side. And of course, the creature was gone. But the creature was smart enough. He had the perfect hunting spot. He had the big tree he was beside of, and there's another big tree. He had laurels here, laurels behind him. So nothing could get to him except for that one spot where we were at. And we get up there where he was at, and there's a little mound of dirt. It had 3 perfect toe prints. And you could see where the little toe was, you could see where the big toe was, but they didn't make a good print.
No.
And I'm looking around this tree where this thing was at, and I see the limb where I seen the head at, and it's 2.5 feet above my head. So we get real excited then. And and this thing had an opening all the way down about 20 feet. Then you could either drop off to the left or right. We get to the end of that opening, and our radio goes off. Harley answers the radio, and the guys down the road hollered, "What are you doing? Something's tearing the woods up." And it just scared up a bunch of birds. So once again, we go, "Let's go get it." So we charged down from the left side of the hill into a thicket that you couldn't see 3 foot in front of your face.
It was horrible.
It was bad.
Hey, we had to army crawl through some of that stuff. It was bad.
It was. And I gotta give him credit. That kid can get through a thicket a whole lot better than I can. He makes a good trail. Well, when we went down, apparently the Bigfoot had seen them on the road, on the trail, and it just curled right back in behind us on that hill.
I guarantee that's what he done. I think that's what he done.
But we got through the thicket and everything. We were both still pretty much vibrating from that point on.
Oh, yeah.
So you could see it, like you actually watched it. It would move around. You could see its muscles and like the body.
I could see it was.
You got a good look at it. You got a good look at it.
The arm, we were close to in the arm, because it was like it was straining to see him, because it hurt to pop, and it was leaning over to see where he was at. And from the waist up, I could see it real good. I never could see any kind of facial feature thing from that far away. But Harley's a good investigator. He really is. He's a sharp kid.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a special moment, that was for sure, to share that with George. Him having never seen one and then being right there with him. And that was special in itself. I was tickled to death.
And when did that one happen?
That was January 7th, 2024.
Yep.
Just like 2 weeks ago. Or whatever. Last week.
No, last month.
Last month. Wow, man. That's interesting.
I'm in January. I'm sorry.
You said that was January the 7th, right?
Yep.
How close are the things to you?
20 yards.
20 yards. So that's like, what, 60 feet away?
Yep. We was on this hill and he was on this hill.
He was right directly across from us because that valley was just shallow.
Now, did you guys, if I'm not mistaken, you said you didn't hear them though, right? You didn't really hear.
No.
You saw, but you didn't hear much.
No.
Did you hear it when it walked away? It left, right? It didn't stay there, right?
No, it left. No. We never heard it because, of course, we was pushing through laurel bushes, so we didn't ever hear it leave.
All right. So that
the
could be
people on the road did.
Yeah.
And now this was behind a big old tree, right? What kind of tree was it again?
I think it was a big oak. I think.
Was it oak?
I think it was an oak tree. Yeah.
I just seen a shadow lean, so I was kind of focused on more.
Well, initially, whenever I first seen it, I seen it on my peripheral. I was like, "That's got to be one." Then I seen it move, and I was like, "Yep, that is one." That's what I told George. I said, "There he is." I said, "He's gonna peek out from around that tree," and then sure enough, he did. And I was like, "There he is! There he is! You see him?" And then I go down there, and I literally step on that branch, and it literally sounded like a shotgun. It was wild.
I don't know if it was so quiet that it sounded louder than what it actually was. But when that thing leaned out so far just to see where he was at, that's the only way I would knew he was there. To me,
and I'm not mistaken. You gentlemen said that you do not see any of the facial features, right?
No. We had a lot of sleet and snow that day.
Yeah, it was very cold.
Sure. And so where did he go? I hope he comes back.
Uh-oh.
Well, you're still here, so you didn't see any facial features, which is quite common, and then
I do not know what happened. That was very strange. I just heard something, and then my phone just shut off. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
They're coming after you, Harley.
They're around right now, brother.
Well, I think they are.
Just wave to them, Harley, and say hi. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. OCO.
There you go.
So, you're talking about the body and all that. Were you able to notice anything outside of it just being shadowy at all?
Just the fact that it was huge. It had to be at least
sure.
What, 4.5, 5 foot across the shoulders. It was
he was every bit of it. He's every bit of it before by 8 sheet of plywood.
Did you guys go back there and check out and see how tall?
I'll be right back. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, bro. Let's do it.
I need to, yeah, but that where we've seen it at, it's close to an area that I frequent, and I need to check that out. Yeah, so next time they come up, yeah, we'll definitely get that done for sure.
Well, one thing I discovered in my journey is that the odds of them being in that same spot again are slim to none. So don't worry.
Well, I mean, just to get a size reference, because I mean, where the top of his head was.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you're having hesitation about seeing the thing again there in that spot, the odds are slim to none that you're going to see it again in that spot. So.
Right. Well, the weird thing is the spot we've seen it in, with all the activity and stuff he's reported to us, and what we've been noticing, there's a lot more going on up there than just a casual Bigfoot passing through. There's some kind of there's a caves or something up there, and I think they're birthing up there.
I believe that I have captured several smaller ones on film. I have they're smaller than the other ones. They're little. And
now, are any of the images that I have here associated?
Yes, there is a white one. They're not with that encounter. No. I was not filming that day. I told myself I wasn't going to.
And the camera was the farthest thing from my mind.
I understand, my friend. I understand. Every my encounters, yeah, it's the same way pretty much. Although at my second encounter, I still filmed some stuff, but I still did that. But that's another story for another time. Yeah. So, what do you think now, George? After all these years, never having an encounter, you never had a sighting either, right?
Not of a Bigfoot, no. And it was fun. It was great. It was.
Well, there's a guy that wrote a book about monsters here, and you
I
finally get to see
I
one.
did write about there's 104 different
Monsters.
creatures in it.
What do you got, man? What do you got? Let's hear it.
I've got creatures from a tree that will eat you in South America to strange creature that wiped out a bunch of Russian scientists in Antarctica to
Now, what would that be?
vampires to giants.
We'll
sea
definitely have to
creatures.
have you come back on in another show and we'll talk about this stuff. I don't want to.
Yeah, this is Harley's show.
That's right.
I'm just here to help you.
It definitely is Harley's show. So, but I do appreciate you helping out with the story. So, I want to. So, how has this changed your guys' life now that you had this encounter? Anything different?
What do you guys think Sasquatch is? Like,
That's a good question right there.
I think because of the fact that when the Indians crossed over the bridge, they talked about the white giants, and they attacked them and forced them out. They said they killed them all, but what I think they did was flee into the caves, and basically these are the descendants of the giants that were here.
okay.
Because they took a Bigfoot casting, and over in the Lovelock Caves in Nevada, they actually took a sandal from a giant that they found there, and the casting fit perfect.
Oh, wow.
So for me, it's it's an ancient, tribe that's here, and it's like that all over the world. There's ancient civilizations that has been pushed out, and they just reverted back.
So you feel they're a type of human or they're a hominid, or what do you think?
They're kind of hard to say. They're giants, and giants they're mostly human, but there's that little bit of reference to the Nephilim, which those were all wiped out during the flood. The Nephilim themselves were. They're some of the giants survived. Supposedly, from what I've read, they found that some of the giants may have survived by going into caves with air pockets in them, so that the water only goes up so far and it's locked out by the oxygen bubble. That's where that is. So, but there's just too much stuff that points to that for me, at least. Now, somebody else may have a better idea.
Okay. Harley, what about you?
It's just speculation. We're at this point. We're all just speculating, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead. What's your speculation?
Nobody is an expert in this, and nobody ever will be. Let's be completely honest. I'm going to shut that out right there. As long as I've been doing this, my first initial thought whenever I first seen one, it's an ape. That was my first initial thought. Whenever I've seen my first one, it was an ape, and I was set on that. Well, now that I've been out doing my field research and such, I actually did a little experiment. I made a cross, and I put it up on one of them structures.
Uh-huh.
I had been reading in the Bible about the Nephilim, the fallen angel, human hybrids, and I put a cross up on one of their structures. And
Okay.
they broke it and destroyed it. And I started reading into it more. They're either Nephilim, or they're some way somehow tied into Cain and Uso and all.
So what do you do, Harley, about all the other people who put up crosses and they're still there?
Do what?
So try it again. So what do you do about all the other people who have these structures that put up crosses that are still there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's happened to me. Whenever I put up the cross, they destroyed it. So, I mean,
how many times do you put up a cross?
Just that one time, and I never put it back up again.
Okay. So this is something to think about, because I know several people that they do the same thing and put up crosses, and those crosses are still there, and they don't seem to be bothered by it. So
yeah,
maybe it has something to do with the fact that when you put it on the structure, you said maybe that had more to do with it than the actual cross.
Well, I mean, they are very well may could have, but I mean,
He's bringing that up.
everybody's, and everybody's got their own opinion on that, and that's what my
Well, it's like you're saying, you're about data, right? And you got to compare the data. That's all.
That's right.
Exactly, and that comment right there, DNA by Dr. Ketchum showed mother's side human, father's side unknown, and that the mother's side, which mitochondrial DNA only comes from the mother of a being or a subject, So that's human mother from the Middle East, and the rest of the nuclear DNA is completely unknown.
Which makes pretty much, gentlemen, if we're really honest and intellectually honest about it, worthless.
Oh.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Unknown.
Honestly, it's absolutely truth. Not to knock Ketchum. I'm not saying that her work was not valuable. Hey, Sean, how you doing? He was Shane, all right? Is that how I pronounce the name? I was pronouncing him. He was on just watching Pork and Beans. So we gotta get Shane on as well. So my point in all that is, I mean, it's one of those things that it's a data point, but it's not a solid thing. You know what I mean? It's like even. And it's one of the things that was dangerous that we do in our as researchers, that we parrot this stuff except as that is 100% valuable information. I'm not knocking Melvin Ketchum. I'm just saying it is what it is, right? If you don't know what the rest of it is, you don't know what you're dealing with, right? Because there's so many other variables in which happens, that could happen, in which if all you got is supposedly some female human DNA in it, there's female humans that are involved in all that too, right? And the best of their ability, you never know what the variables are. So I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking anyone. I'm just reminding us that I don't know how useful it is at this point.
Lots of stories of them taking females and. There's quite a few of them where they've got impregnated. So what about the ones where we don't hear about that have been taken? So maybe that's how the DNA is getting mixed in with the females of our breed or like humans, right? Like,
yeah,
they're interbreeding with human beings. So of course the child Sasquatch that comes from that is going to have female DNA, right?
Some of it would, but that doesn't mean all of it would. And there's another thing about those things.
No, not all of it, but some of it.
So we could be dealing with multiple different things here going on, different beings and all that kind of stuff, with different genetic lineage and pools and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just bringing it up. I'm not knocking Harley or you or any of you guys, and just reminding that it's a data point that's way out there right now, and it's not solid for leading us directly to what we're dealing with. So that's all.
Well, the only way we're going to know for sure is they put one on a slab.
Yep, or they come forward with it.
And you're not going to know all of them then, because there is
several.
From everything I've been researching and everything else, there's such a variation.
That's right.
Country to country of Bigfoot. Because that's just a bulk term is all it is.
Right. Yeah, that thing that's got big feet, right?
Something big, hairy, and walking around in the woods.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on here, and it's just the more and more you go down this path, the more and more, as you brought it up yourself, Harley, the more questions you have, right?
Yep. So you go down the rabbit hole, it brings more questions and answers.
Well, the thing about Harley is apparently he attracts all of this stuff when it goes out in the woods, because he's getting all kinds of weird things.
Well, that's what happens, man. You've been tagged, right? You've been tagged or pinned.
I
think he is. I mean,
I've had paranormal activity start.
Well, I've never had. I've seen him dealt with a lot of ghosts, but never had any trouble with them. But Harley's got these creatures. They love him.
Yeah.
So Harley, did you just say that you started having paranormal activity since then?
Yeah, I started in
Shocker! Ding, 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 ding.
Buddy, you got Sasquatch coming on. They're coming after, not after you in a bad way, but they're gonna start showing their presence to you in all sorts of ways, man. You might get
and more than Sasquatch is more than Sasquatch JT is going to show up.
Oh yeah,
it's more than them already.
So the
why
thing
he
is,
done me
the
in.
thing is,
Take somebody with him.
the thing is though, what I discovered from my journey, and it gets everybody's journey's different in how you handle it, right? But I think it's more about them letting you know that they're real than it is about them trying to torment you. Now it scares the living hell out of you to go through this stuff until you kind of get used to the idea that there's other things around you. The thing is, what I discovered, at least for me, is that, and it's nothing that I did anything wrong. There's nothing, because this happens to everybody. They're all over the place, right? There's these interdimensional realms, these parallel universes are all around us, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is. There's all sorts of things around us, regardless. And they don't do anything to us. But once in a while, for some reason, they show up.
It's all here.
And I find these parallels, and George, you might find the same thing. The parallels between the ufology, Bigfootery, and the paranormal, and etc., cryptozoology are shocking, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
It's all
There's
intertwined.
definitely something
yeah.
that connects them all. That's for sure.
Yeah. What makes them be able to pop up and pop into our reality and leave just like that?
It's the more questions than answers.
Yeah.
I think it's like you said, it's all
Interdimensional
up here.
beings.
Yeah, I do think, part of that, George, too, is that all up there in our head is our ignorance. Part of the problem is our ignorance.
We're trained that this is the way things are, but then when you finally get your eyes opened, you realize this is actually this.
And a lot bigger.
And it's overpowering on your mind because it's not supposed to exist. It's not supposed to be there.
They told us
And-
that. People
Yep.
told us
We've
that.
been
Right?
told all our lives. See,
In the history books.
my problem is, I remember when the Legend of Boggy Creek come out.
Yeah. That was not good. That was not a good thing for anybody to watch. A lot of that's propaganda. In my honest,
I was a kid though, and it just kind of stuck in my head, and that's when I thought, that's when I realized that there was something else out there. But then life showed me there was even more out there. I mean, I'm in the middle of the ocean, see a UFO, I almost die, and there's just so many things happen that my eyes was opened at an early age. And
we definitely got to bring George back on him, don't you think, JT?
Oh, yeah, you definitely need George back.
no,
It sounds like, because we talk more obviously with our logo and all that. We talk more than just Sasquatch. So
Oh yeah,
Well,
we do.
that's
we
the cool
realize
thing with Harley's getting these other creatures in here. And I think one thing that happened to him with the dog man, I think he run across some little people
Mhm.
evidence.
For sure.
And
ever since my
to run you off.
right, I totally agree. I mean, ever since I had my encounter, started my sightings, it's like back in 2017. There's a lot more of the other stuff than the Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more.
Every bit of folklore has a touch of truth.
Yep.
At
Right.
least.
Right.
And there's folklore about everything in the world. And the dogman. I've been researching dogman big time, and I'm gonna try to talk Harley and let me put his encounter in the book. But
well, I shouldn't be that
these
hard.
dogmen there was tribes of them, and they go all the way back to 400 BC.
What are we talking about here?
Dogman.
The Dogman. Okay. Where is this report coming from? Like, where are you getting that from?
Marco Polo actually wrote about him in his adventures when he was traveling the world, and he was taken to a tribe of them in India.
Yeah.
And they was over 120,000 strong.
Wow.
And even St. Christopher was considered to be a dog man until they changed his image.
Really?
He was actually drawn as a dog man. He was 7 foot tall.
Wow. That's kind of interesting.
What we got going on here, Harley? What is this thing?
Is that a face? Is that what we're seeing?
A Sasquatch, my friend.
Now, what's the story behind this?
That was my first day in there doing my field research. That was December 7th, 2023. That's from my back trail cam.
Okay.
He's just
I see some pretty dark eyes there. I see a nose. Apparently, looks like it has about a head and a forehead.
Cone-shaped head, and his hair is kind of toughy looking.
Notice it's very green too, like it blends into the leaves.
Translucent, cloaked.
Yeah, he's cloaked. I never seen him, never heard him. I didn't even know he was there until I went back and looked at my footage.
Mm-hmm. Well, it happens. That's how it happens most of the time, right?
Right.
Yep.
Most of the time. When you see it, when you actually have the encounters and see it, your camera's not ready. And when you do filming, you didn't see a darn thing. And that's
the funny thing is, when I had my encounter, I literally pulled my shitty old phone out that I had at the time, and I zoomed up on her. But it was even on my shitty old phone, it was just blurry looking. So I didn't record it. I didn't do nothing. But I mean, I didn't want to. I was just trying to see her better.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but that right there is
one picture of a dog man that's incredible.
So what do you think? What do you think this is, George, from your experience?
That picture right there, that's a Bigfoot.
You got a Bigfoot, okay.
But he's got a picture of a dog man that it's incredible. It's a great shot.
What's going on here? What's going on here?
There is a Sasquatch that was standing right there in that area as I'm going through that field. You can make out the side of him. He's got his eye closed right there. That dark little line right there. He's got his eye closed. That's like his side profile right there.
You see this side profile? Okay.
Yeah, like his like little black line right there. He's got his eye closed, and in one of them, you'll see he opens his eye.
You got multiple images of the same thing, right?
There's 8. Those are 8 still captures from my video. Right there is where he moves a little bit more.
Is he looking at you? This one?
Oh yeah, he's looking at me now. He's brown and he's got like a lighter brown face.
He gets killer pictures.
I think this is the one where he opens his eye. Yeah, that's the one he opened his eye. You can zoom in, you can see his eye.
Zoom in more, already. Yeah.
Yeah, zoom in more.
Oh yeah, you can see his eyes, his nose. Yeah.
That's his eye right there.
All I see is pixels.
That's my son. Well, he's being honest. That's all I can see too. But that doesn't mean there's not nothing.
I can see it. I can see what you're saying, Harley. 100%.
You're right, my son. Honesty is the best policy.
Definitely.
But I've been in that area. I've been in that area for 2 months now, and that is not a stump or a tree or anything that's been there. You know.
Yeah, well, it definitely looks like you filmed something. That's for sure. How big do you think it was?
It's a big boy. I don't know how big, but he's big.
Oh, here's
that's a bottom right there. That's actually the bottom that me and George went into where we had that encounter.
That's right here?
That's that bottom.
How can you tell that's a Bigfoot?
That's the top of his head right there.
I know, but I know one thing is there. Is he looking at you right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he was standing up right
that's
there
a pretty
in that
good
area.
one.
He crouched down.
Bear.
A bear?
Yeah, just like with the perspective, with the eyes.
I don't know how you got a bear out of that, boy, but you try a little harder, man. Go look at some bears before I say that. Go look at some bear pictures, okay?
Just see its eyes. I don't know.
That's the honest answer. I don't know. That's a very honest answer. So yeah, there seems to be more than one thing going on in here too. What's going on in here?
There's Bigfoot, there's Dogman, and there's definitely some other strange things in there.
In the picture I'm talking about.
Yeah, I never really paid much attention to the rest of it. Just that big one that was right there.
Because there seems to be something going on here.
See that face?
It looks like it's
it almost looks like if you pay real close attention, it's even got his fingers right here, one hand, and he got a finger or some hand right there.
I don't see anything.
At least, no, you have to really look at it to see it. But there's something going on right about here.
Structure.
You can see see this like sausage looking thing there, and the sausage looking there, and the sausage looking.
Oh yeah, that does look like a hand, don't it?
Yeah, sure it does.
That's strange. It is.
Well, that's what I could give you a little bit of advice from experience that you need to start looking at hands in those trees.
That's very strange.
Did you hear what I said, Harley?
Yeah, I heard you.
You need to start looking at the hands because that's going to help you identify the thing. Because a lot of times these things that's you they'll help find them, and you'll start to see that these hands, and they're pretty clear. You can find hands with fingernails and everything. So it's up to you what you want to do with what I just said, but
Right.
it does help you find stuff. You start paying
Yeah, I'll
attention.
definitely take that into consideration.
I do believe you guys saw this. I'm just gonna be very honest with. I'm gonna just be very honest and critical. So
That's all right. My son's my number one troll, and he's also.
I'm not trolling here.
I know you're not trolling here, my son. But by the way, it's not unreasonable what you're saying. You know what I mean?
It's just like
Until you train your eyes and have your experiences, you're not going to see the things that we see for the most part.
I do see the head.
What's going on here, Harley?
That's him. He's still moving around in that area. So that's just the top of its head.
Okay.
But that was him moving from frame to frame, and I managed to get the still captures of him.
That was it.
When was this again?
Picture.
That was the 17th, December 17th.
Okay, so that was just, a
couple months ago.
Yeah, but is that when you started to do it? Is this your first day, Joe?
My December 7th was my first day.
Oh, okay, that's right. I knew there was a 7 in there. So
that kind of looks like an otter.
Which makes about much sense. That's how my journey was. When I started going out, things started happening right away. Right away.
Didn't you meet that Indian?
And actually,
that,
as far as interactions, encounters, and sightings, that first year in 2017 was the maximum point, the high point of all that, right? And since then, it hasn't been quite. It's not being close to anything like 2017, right? So I find that interesting. That not to say that it's universal, but other people have similar experiences. Have you noticed that, George, or you guys been around for a while?
Oh, yeah.
What about you, JT?
100%, man. A lot of our experiences, there's like synchronicities to it, I relate to a lot of people's stuff I hear,
I feel like it would be cool to see a Bigfoot.
Hey, well, hold up a second. There's one standing in between them trees right there.
Well, there's something going right here.
There's something right there, but down there to the left. Right there in the left. Right there, Hope.
Oh, yeah. Zoom in right there.
I didn't even see that one.
Zoom in.
That's the next thing to let you remind you of.
He's literally standing right there in between the trees.
They're never alone.
Never.
No. Well, I knew that, but I didn't think it was. I didn't even think to look over that one. I just seen the big one.
Baring his teeth.
Zoom in right there, Ordy, right in between those trees. Yeah, right there. Zoom in on that spot.
See, it kind of
you can see his eye and his nose.
Yeah.
Never mind. It doesn't look like anything anymore.
Yeah, it gets all blurry once you get blown
I can see it. I can totally see it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I swear.
That's cool, man.
Lots of stuff in them woods. That's what I keep trying to tell people. You miss when you solely focus on Bigfoot or Dogman, you miss 99% of what's else out there in them woods.
That's crazy. That's blowing my mind right there. I didn't even see that one. Yeah, but that one right there, after I had my first Bigfoot picture, I thought that was something, but I absolutely love that. That's just and that's a little bit of enhancement that I've done. You can see his hair's kind of tufted up looking, and his face is gray. His face is gray.
He looks,
yeah.
I'd say it may have been female. I don't know, but it's gray.
It had a grayish green face with dark black eyes.
He kind of looks like he's like
dark black recessed.
Now this is a white juvenile that I captured in one of my gifting areas. He's crouched down in behind that mossy stump right there.
Zoom in on that.
What is that?
He's white or tan, one of the two. I'm not 100.
Shit, that almost looks like a side profile of a face.
Well, the white's him. You'll see in the next picture as he kind of.
So this is the Bigfoot right here.
Yep, that's a little one, a little tiny one.
Okay.
Now you see right there as he starts to sit up. You can see his face is like darker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was a little bitty sucker. He was right there, and I didn't even know it. And the gifting area.
That one.
Oh, is this the face right here?
last one
Yep,
was-
that's that dark. The dark
Right
spot
there.
right there. Yep,
Yeah,
that
the dark
spot.
part.
That's the eyes.
Yeah.
Mm,
No, they're right
No.
beside each other. They're literally right beside each other. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the head right here?
Just the black part. Just the whole black part, like all that little spot there.
all that black spot right there is his face, and then the tan around it is his body outline.
Eyes, mouth right here.
No, not that. That's
I
the
see.
stump.
I know what he's saying. I can see it.
Okay,
That's
my
the stump.
my apologies.
No,
like
you're good.
like I always say, what do I say, JT?
We all think. I don't know the exact words, but we all do see things differently. That's for
We
sure.
all see
Yeah.
things differently. That's what it comes down to. Just can't take any of it personally. You know what I mean?
No.
That's a X or a whatever you want. At first, initially, I thought it was an X, but then I got to looking at it. I was like, that's a dang on A.
Oh yeah, look at that. They
Yeah,
put them on sideways too. I'd say
Yeah.
it's an A.
it's definitely that shocked me whenever I found that because that's what I was trying to find, and eventually I found one. So I found that on December 31st.
What do you think the A stands for?
I don't know. I initially seen the X. I didn't pay attention to the A. That's an arch right there.
Is
They've
it
got
pinned down by a tree break?
that is broken from a totally different area and placed, and it's holding that arch in, and that
Yeah.
arch is stuffed up under another log.
Interesting.
I've seen that actually multiple times
yeah,
up here.
this-
There's a place we
this-
went called Tree Break Alley, and it was like that everywhere. The trees were bent over, and then there'd be a tree break that was broken and pinning down the bent tree.
Yeah.
This one is from December 19th or the 20th. This was a day that I captured one of the dog man as well. This is actually the Sasquatch that was close to that dog man.
See, this would be nice when the guest would have a computer so they could be pointing this stuff out instead of having me guess this stuff. You know what I mean? You can't take it personally, right?
Right.
You're the one that's looking at. Plus, as you can tell, every time it's transferred from one platform to another, or from one device to
Yeah, it
another,
changes it up.
you lose integrity from it. So.
Mhm.
So what? That was another Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Now, are you when you're taking these? Are these mostly just you taking pictures and finding them
No,
after?
those are that's the videos from a backpack.
Okay. Shooting backwards.
Yep.
Okay.
Catch what's behind me.
You know, it's like that's what I discovered in 2017, and this is how synchronicity works. I started doing it because I couldn't see anything with my camera, right? Because the glare of the sun and everything, I couldn't see anything, and so I just started filming the side and my back. And I'm not making this up. Literally within a month, less than a month, I ended up discovering Scott Carpenter. We ended up started talking, did several shows together in 2017 and 18. He was talking about that for a while, about shooting from behind and your side. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. That's how synchronicity works, huh?
Well, that's how I started doing this. I looked up Bigfoot research in East Tennessee, and sure enough, Scott Carpenter's name showed up, and it all took off after that. I wish I could have met him before he passed away.
Scott was good. He was a good man.
Yeah.
He was a nice man.
Those are the
We didn't agree on a lot of things, but except it didn't really matter.
Those are the twist
It
breaks.
doesn't even matter,
Those are the twist breaks that I found right before I had my dogman encounter.
Tree breaks and a twist. Is
Yep.
that one there? So what's this big arch tree? Just a bent over tree?
That's a twist break.
That big one's a twist too.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that one twisted as well?
Yeah, it was twisted too.
Oh wow.
There's like 3 or 4 different twist breaks right in that area.
And this is the same area that you got the picture of the dogman?
No. This is a new area. This is where I had my recent dogman encounter, and I got zapped. I think that's a juvenile. I think juvenile's done that because
That is structure.
Yeah, I think juvenile's done it because it was just awfully small. You think they do bigger ones if they were adults. So I think juvenile's made that one.
What are we talking about, ORD?
If you're an adult Sasquatch, you can do small and big ones, so you can't
Well,
just make an assumption. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean,
Yeah.
if they can make a big one, they can make a small one.
Yeah.
Simple as that, right?
Yeah.
And so, of course, my opinion about this, and I bring it up every time about these tree structures. And see, no one's ever claimed, or I don't know. Did you gentlemen know anybody's ever seen a Bigfoot make a tree structure?
No.
No, none of us do. So we're making assumptions again. We don't know if this is strictly Bigfoot making this. I'm not saying the Bigfoot's not making it, but what I am saying is we don't know definitively that Bigfoot did make that. This goes back to my argument that 99% of what we're dealing with is not Bigfoot, potentially. And when you start filming stuff and having encounters with things, you start like, you know what? Just like George, he's got that book of monsters. There's a whole bunch of stories, a whole bunch of different things, and there's a reason for it because there's a whole bunch of different things out there.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm just bringing up the obvious because it's like one of the things that we're doing in the Bigfoot community and Bigfoot researchers is we're shooting ourselves in the foot by claiming this Bigfoot made it.
Well, that makes sense.
When we don't know 100%, and listen, all you have to do is just have somebody who does a little bit of critical thinking. He's going to ask the same question, right?
Oh yeah.
And if we want other people to take us seriously, then we have to be as honest as possible with what we have to present to people, right? I mean, if we agree with that?
Oh yeah.
So that's all I'm bringing up. And I'm not saying that Bigfoot did make that. I'm just saying
you don't know.
We don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something other than human.
Yeah. That's the big twist break. But if you'll look right up to the right from there is another twist break that's way higher.
This one right here or higher?
Yeah, yeah.
This one?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's another twist break.
See, so the logical question is to say, well, what else is it? What else is big enough to do it? Well, that's a damn good question.
Yeah.
But then again, you know what? Like I said, they're never alone. When I say they're never alone, I'm not just saying there's other Sasquatch. There's always other entities around these things.
Yes.
And so is it solely Bigfoot that's doing that? That's the only question I'm asking. And if we're filming other things around these things and people are having similar encounters as me and experienced other things that have been around these things that aren't Bigfoot, then God knows what's actually doing this stuff. You know what I mean? It could be a host of things that do it for whatever reasons, or it's just I still shocking. George, how long have you been doing this?
I've been researching for about a little over 10 years.
So 10 years. And JT, he's been doing it about the same time as Harley. So, combined all together.
I've been doing Sasquatch stuff for years, but I really got into it in 2020 for sure.
Sure, right. So, at the same time, right? And so the thing is, and then you look at the old timers and you listen to guys like John Keel or Ivan T. Sanderson and all these other guys, and you read their stuff and you start realizing there's a whole bunch of high strangeness here, and we just don't know what the hell we're dealing with. I would say the vast majority of the time we don't know what we're dealing with.
Oh, I agree. There's no such thing as an expert in this field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's always, to me, it's always, what is doing that? Why are they doing that? What is, it's first, because everyone else says it's Bigfoot, therefore we say it's Bigfoot until you start realizing, well, I don't know.
The only reason I would say Bigfoot is because of the strength it took to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the height of it.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't easy breaking a big tree or bending it like that.
No, those big rocks right there, for that matter. Somebody told me, I posted those in my group, and I was like, "Oh, hiker's done it." Those are pretty good sized rocks.
Was there a trail there by chance?
No,
Trail near it?
I was off the main trail about a mile or two.
Okay. No rock stack yet. I can see that.
And
The Indians do the
there was
same
another
thing.
one. There was another one about 20 feet away from it. That one right there.
Okay.
The
Over that
Indians
tree.
used to stack rocks as markers.
Yeah. And the Indians did that. Here's another thing, too. Indians also did something else. They used to make what we call teepee structures. And why did they do that? Because when they were migrating through the seasons, instead of carrying all those damn long poles everywhere, they leave them in designated spots. And they also made X structures and tree leans to markers, natural markers.
Not all Indians did that. Though. The Cherokee didn't have teepees. They actually had regular homes.
Yeah, Cherokee.
They built structures to live in instead of teepees.
Right, but still, there were still plenty of people that were migrating back and forth. So you can't.
Right.
It's just like the Algonquin. You say Algonquin. There's multiple tribes that are in that, right? Algonquin, so including the Ojibwe, like just.
Yeah.
And so, which is where I have in my, and I'm just saying, there's enough evidence that that's exactly what they were doing. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
So then. And I'm just going to throw it out there, not saying that I have the answer, but then it's like, okay, we know that humans used to do this, and something now is doing it, and always has been doing it. Is there a human connection that's beyond flesh and blood?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I mean, when you get into the stuff, you're like, what the hell is going on? That's the honest truth about it. What the
Yeah, that's a asterisk that I found. That was recent. Like they were still alive. You can tell from the roots and like the stumps there. They were just broken and snapped off and made into that.
Interesting. I wonder if Brian and Michael will help us answer some questions next week. What do you think?
I know that Brian. I've watched lots of Brian's videos, and he would always say that these glyphs have certain meanings for certain people. They don't have the same meaning. If you're getting personal glyphs that like made for you, like you're finding these on the ground, not like these big ones, that they could mean totally different things for one person to the next. It's a personal thing with the Sasquatch. If they're actually making these little glyphs for you, then you have to figure that out.
Yeah, they've been doing that with me
because an A glyph for me could mean totally different than what the A means for you.
I would make high out of the sticks, and they would interact with it and change it around and move it.
Well, Harley, here
that's a dog man.
You definitely seem to film something here.
Well, I thought that was a Bigfoot.
That's a dog man.
You think it's a dog man?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is, George?
I'm leaning towards Dogman because it looks like it has sharp ears.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it may be a Dogman. I thought it was Bigfoot.
Look at those ears.
I didn't think that was ears. I thought that was just leaves around its head.
Well, I might be wrong. I'm half blind.
There you go. We get old now. There's a reason why we have glasses, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I know one thing. You sure looks like you filmed something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What was going on? Did you notice that when you filmed it?
No, I was hiking back down the trail, and it just appeared right there. It leaned out. Yeah, this was a good one. Yeah, this one's one of my other favorites. He's literally like laying there flat on the ground.
Just dark too, eh?
It's dark mass there for sure.
Mm-hmm. You got a great face.
Oh my gosh! I think I see the face. What in the frick?
Are these the eyes?
Yep, that's the eyes.
Okay.
Man, do you guys see the face on that tree though?
Yeah.
Dead center. It's like staring right at us. Dead center.
Yeah,
look at that face.
Right here?
I didn't even notice that.
That's a forest. That's an elemental, man. In my opinion.
That's strange.
If it is, that's an example of what I'm talking about. They're never alone.
They're never alone, ever.
You're gonna find things that aren't pareidolia.
It's gonna jumps out at you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the dog man.
Did I skip to do some one we saw?
That's one of the other dog man that I've captured. It looks like he's got something little hitchhiking on his shoulder. I don't know what that is. It looks like a little tiny something hitchhiking on his shoulder.
Yeah, I know. I filmed a lot of these things, and it's really weird. Like Dogman or Bigfoot, they'll have like this little character. Like either a lot of times they look like they got glasses on too, right? Like Mr. Magoo with glasses or something.
Well, look at the Sasquatch I got, or that Lee got like last weekend or whatever. You know, it looks like he's wearing shades almost.
Oh yeah,
That's the cool Sasquatch.
Yeah.
None of it makes any sense, man.
No.
I talked to somebody recently who had their glasses taken away and then brought back. I forget who it was, but yeah. So the Sasquatch literally took their glasses. So who's to say you won't see one with a pair of glasses on?
Well, actually, right above my head, there is a juvenile one that it looks like it's got glasses. You guys can't see that, but you go to my channel or go my Facebook page and pay a little attention to it, you'll see it. It's like, yeah, looks like it's wearing glasses, and it's manifesting out of a dang tree.
That's crazy. There it is. There it is. That's the money shot right there. That is not a Sasquatch. Because initially, whenever I first seen it, I thought it was a Sasquatch. But then I zoomed in and looked. Nope. That is a upright canine. The next one's zoomed in, and I enhanced it a little bit. You can make out its outline a bit better.
Yeah, maybe it'll help. I can't see it, bro. Let's say it's not there.
You got to zoom in better to see it. There it is.
Is that the same one?
That's the same one zoomed in.
Yeah, that's a dog man.
What the heck's going on here? I hit the wrong button. You going to bed, Chase? So this is what we're looking at. This dark spot right here.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay,
yep,
now.
that's him.
Dang, I hit the wrong button again. Sorry.
Yep, that's him.
So are you saying this right here is his ears?
Yep.
And that's his mouth?
Yep. The next one, where I zoomed in and enhanced it, you can see it really good.
Wonder what that is right there.
I don't know. Yeah, that's as clear as an image as you're going to get of a dog man right there. I think that's just amazing.
It's a good shot.
Now you've got a better one than that, Harley.
Which one is it?
That one you got the whole upper body.
That's him, ain't it?
No,
JT actually has a really good
limbs are off to the side like this. He's standing behind those crooked limbs. You just showed it to me the other day.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. I didn't say
that's the best one I've seen you've got.
Well, that one.
Well,
is good too.
you know, you've only started, and I guarantee you, the more you do this, and the more you kind of fine tune yourself and everything, the better the image is going to show.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm not done. I'm just getting started.
So, but you know, the image are just part of the package, and the experience is what your encounters. You know, you shared one with George. That's something that you guys should value because there's not too many of us to get that opportunity. If we do get the opportunity, the other person decides they don't want nothing to do with it. You know what I mean?
I was lucky. I was lucky to have good friends with me, especially Harley.
Yep, it was special. Very special moment for sure.
Well, gentlemen,
J-Max in the room, guys. J-Mac.
We got J-Mac in the room. We should bring him up. He'll let him diagnose these images.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, if you're right here, if you look at this one of my coverage, pay attention to this one right here. This juvenile Bigfoot. It looks like he's wearing glasses. You go to my Facebook page or whatever and pay a close look.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this another one that there's a juvenile that's holding on to its whatever that thing is. I guess they call it Bigfoot. And then there's another one
That's an amazing shot, man. I love that one in the middle.
And I also filmed what it looks like what people call a Wendigo, and it did nothing to me. It did absolutely nothing to me. So, oh my God. part of the sell in this whole thing is the scary stories, as we know. So, and it must be mature a little bit about that, I think.
Yeah.
That's my opinion after this time. And I've talked to old timers who say the same thing. After a little bit of time, you realize a lot of those scary stories are nothing more than scary stories.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all they are. So, and many of researchers still walking out of the woods with nothing happening to them. Isn't that amazing?
Hey, y'all ain't gonna believe this. There was just a knock.
Oh, nothing surprises me. Absolutely nothing surprises. So this is my.
There was literally a knock just now.
Before we wind up out here, I just want to remind people again. There is
I'm gonna have to talk with you, Harley. I'm gonna have to talk to you after.
Harley's Facebook group, Bigfoot Reports and Data. So don't forget about subscribing to it. Just build that up. Build up mine too. I only have like 20. I don't know what I have right now. I just made it today, so can't complain too much.
That's good for one day.
And this is Harley's. Let's don't forget about George. And if George is willing to come back, we'll make we'll set a time in the next couple months to have him come back, and we'll. Sure. It's I wouldn't mind getting the book as well and reading it before you come. You know what I mean? So it's so show a little respect to you, and we'd have more, insightful conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I wrote the book for podcasters.
Pardon me?
He wrote for us.
Yeah, I wrote so you'd have a reference guide.
Perfect.
It's running about. When I looked at it, it's running about $20 on Amazon, something like that. $25.
A little less than 15.
Is it less than 15?
Yeah, and it's 300 and something pages.
And that's George when he was younger and a little more in shape, not so old.
Yeah,
not so much gray. I can say that because we are the same age.
Well, the problem is my head's outgrowing my hair.
I know, isn't it? It's just something on.
I just felt my pockets and look, 4 lighters.
Oh my god!
Are you? Where do you think happened? What was it? So, who did it? Anyways,
who did it?
Harley has a podcast too. Me and Harley has a podcast along with our friends. It's called NCI.
Okay, what's that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. It's right there. It's North Carolina Investigate.
Yep.
And we're like you guys. We talk about everything.
Everything.
So when are you guys on?
Depends.
Ours is pre-recorded, so if it's out there, we got it on Spotify, and you can just listen to them as you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how long you guys been doing that?
We just started it.
December.
We just started not that long ago. We've got 6, 8 episodes on there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So basically in the same boat here. Okay, so, I'll both start new podcast or live show. So that's awesome, gentlemen.
Yeah, maybe we can come on and share our experiences with you guys.
Well, there you go.
That's great. We'd love to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anytime you want to invite me, I'll talk to anybody. As you know, JT, right? It's hard to keep my mouth shut. I get going. So.
Well, I tell you what, you guys get with Harley. Let Harley set it up.
Yeah, I'll get with Eric and we'll get her set up. Yeah, absolutely.
It's up to you guys, man. I'm not going to push.
We'd love to have y'all.
Yeah,
we really
absolutely.
would.
We
we like having guests on that just be yourself.
Oh yeah,
we
that's all I know how to be.
We're bullcrap kind of people. We just kind of laugh, cut up, and tell the truth.
I get jittery, so just beware. You already know
jittery.
That.
You get jittery, in time you'll realize it's nothing more than just talking. That's all it is.
Yeah.
The biggest thing.
He's jittery all the time. It don't matter.
That's what I heard. That's what you say, George.
He's a young buck,
He's a 6'6" spaz, is what you're saying, huh?
Yeah.
He's a freaking Sasquatch over here, man. Jeez.
Plus, he's 23, so my gosh, you got to give the guy credit. And you know what? It's 23 to end up having the encounters he's had so far. What a journey you might have ahead of you, man.
Oh, it's just beginning, my friend.
Yeah.
Just beginning.
It would be interesting if we're still, walking around this place. I was going to say something else, but I'll hold my tongue. Maybe in a decade to see where you're at.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Should we make a bet? Heads or tails whether he continues this next decade?
I already know the answer to that. It's going to be yes.
There you go. Right. That should be interesting. And it's an interesting ride.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, and, I know how you feel, George and JT, but it's like you better do this because you have a drive and a passion for it. Because that's all you're going to get. The amount of money I spend doing it's just the amount of money I spend, JT as well, of course. Just to have this conversation with you guys is outrageous.
Oh, I believe it.
It is outrageous. It really is. I'm like, man, I can
Worth it though.
Yeah, well, that's one of the problems I noticed that we're having. It's like there's not like you can just hang out with your neighbors and do this stuff, right? You'd be lucky if you got a neighbor who even want to do this stuff, right, or even talk to you about it. But it's interesting that we're all parts of North America in order to have this conversation, right?
Yep. Ohio, British Columbia, Tennessee, and North Carolina.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I'll close it out unless there's anything else that needs to be said.
Nope. Like I always say, if you have a story or an encounter you need to tell and get off your chest, tell it. I was in that boat too. I encourage anybody, anywhere, share it.
Absolutely. And don't forget about
Good words, man. Good words.
Don't forget about JT and his channel. Those are, listen to this on my side and your guys' side. Sasquatch Confessions is on YouTube. His channel is growing big time. And that's nice to see it happen so fast.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got the burden, not you, not me. So, and then, George, thank you once again. We'll have you come back. Definitely, Harley, we'll have you come back too.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Let's end it out with that. The opening does that sound right to you, JT?
One thing I just want to say: if anybody's interested in hearing my friend's music here, check them out on Spotify, anywhere that streams music. Look them up. Conspirituality. The song is called "Not Alone." If you want to go hear the full song. And with that being said, squawk out.
Put together a little lecture and I make the class watch. Pacific Northwest, where we're blessed with Sasquatch. Like in the Himalayas, the abominable snowman, known to have strength more phenomenal than Conan. Discovered evidence of this endangered species. Footprints, hair samples, even stranger feces. Put a bad taste in your mouth like a glass of scotch. Some say it smells worse than an ass or crotch. In British Columbia, they're more than legendary, even though the skeptics claim he's imaginary. Eyewitness accounts that attract attention, while others can't decide if it's a fact or fiction. Is there an ounce of truth? I don't pretend to know. I'm searching for the proof, whether friend or foe. Got his own erotic novel, getting naked with ladies. What's the missing 411? Ask David Pallades.
There's things that are not known. There's things that can't be known. There's things that won't be known. It's okay, you're not alone. There's things that are not known. There's things that won't be known. There's things that can't be known. It's okay, we're not